Mr. President. In December 2005, there was a Prime Minister who sat here in the House. I think one thing we all learned is that we really need a seriously reformed budget for the future. Let us all together, Commission, Council, Member States, European Parliament, work out how in the next few years we can build a consensus for a changed and reformed Europe in which the budget is a rational part of that future and not an unfortunate piece of horse trading. Well, this Prime Minister was Tony Blair, the man who made the last deal on the financial perspectives. And we are now here, 5 years later. And what Blair said, Mr. President, is the essential point that the Parliament wants to achieve. The engagement of the EU institutions and all involved parties to reinvent the financing of the Union and to base this financing on rational grounds and not on a horse trading competition, what is the case today. And on the figures, let us be very clear. It's no secret that the Parliament could be ready to accept the Council figures, of course within a broader deal. But we need also to agree on a second element, colleagues, that's on flexibility. And let us be very clear on this. This flexibility is not a concession from the side of the Council. Flexibility is necessary, indispensable, otherwise we cannot finance a number of important issues. And more flexibility is an acquis. It forms part of the interinstitutional agreement that we have already. And in fact, Council have broken their word by refusing this now in this budget. And finally, and that's the most important, President, we must agree on the future financing of the Union. And therefore, the issue of own resources must be reopened. No doubt about this. And let me be clear, own resources is not a question of changing the treaties. And own resources is also not a question of new competences. It is a question, Mr. President, of applying the existing treaties. And it is a question of financing the existing competences. Because the Union was always meant to have its own revenue. And Mrs. Merkel, Mr. Sarkozy and Mr. Cameron don't know this, but the Union was founded with its own revenue. It was the basis of the financing of the Union by the founding fathers. However, we all know that with time and contribution from a certain Iron Lady, the Union lost the link to its own resources. And so instead we have now, Mr. President, absurd discussions about who benefits more and who benefits less of the Union. Not seeking the EU interest, but only focusing, well, that is the budget today in the European Union, on the net payment position of every single member state. That's core business for the moment in the budget issues of the Union. And this, colleagues, this way of handling is killing the Union. It is destroying the spirit of unity in the Union. And it is destroying the solidarity in the Union. And I repeat, we can only require genuine own resources, which can also lead to what a number of national countries want, to have less national contributions. If we don't change the system, governments and not citizens will stay in charge. If, on the contrary, we go in the direction of own resources, not governments, but citizens will be in charge. In short, you could say, in fact, that own resources for Europe, colleagues, means more European democracy. It's the basis for a modern European democracy. So I have one request, and that's my conclusion, Mr. President, to you, Mr. Barroso. And my request is very simple. Whatever the format is, a convention, a conference, an IGC, with or without national parliaments, don't listen to the voices of the past. Go for the future, use your right of initiative and put a formal proposal the fastest as possible on the table. The pro-European majority in this House, I can tell you that, is fully behind you,
Thank
behind
you,
this initiative.
Mr. President. Thank you.